is January 26, 2026. So we've got two sixes, 26s together. This is Current Events Monday. We're doing a special show on Current Events Monday. We're going to be talking about current events that happened over the past month or so. And we wanted to bring to everybody's attention to make sure that you subscribe and hit that like button for us on all of our social media platforms, because it only helps the algorithm push our material, and we can bring you better material that way. Got my kinfolk Isaiah here, and I got my kinfolk Najee here with me. They both looking pretty sharp. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the music industry today. We want to talk a little bit about Pharrell Williams, who's a super, super successful artist, producer, artist, singer, vocalist, whatever you want to call it. And his lawsuit, which is alleged lawsuit based on, information that's swirling around, especially on Source magazine, that him and his original founder, because they were both founders of this group called the Neptunes, and Pharrell broke off on his own, Chad broke off on his own, and then you had Shay. Shay was part of the group. And by the way, for a little bit of history lessons, Shay is actually married to Sean Taylor's ex right now. And yeah, Shay, all of those guys are from Virginia, and they actually got their start kind of connecting with Teddy Riley a little bit from Guy, because Teddy Riley was producing a lot of acts out of the Virginia area. And it was three of them, Chad, Pharrell, and Shay. And it looks like there's a little bit of rift between Pharrell and Chad. And both of these guys are extremely rich because they made a lot of money off of their music. They made a lot of money off of their likeness and imaging and selling their copyright rights, you name it. I want to kind of pick Isaiah's brain and find out, because Isaiah does have some background in the music industry as well. I'm reading right here that Chad and Pharrell is actually kind of beefing over several $1 million. Now, why would you fight over that? I don't understand. Can you help me understand? Because it says Pharrell is sued by Chad for allegedly withholding Neptune's money. So I'm assuming that is like residuals that may make based on the group's album sales and things of that nature within the music industry, the marketing, you name it, right? Kind of break this down for us little by little, how all of that works.
According to the articles that I read, it's like Pharrell was withholding royalties and things of that sort, and concert money and things that should have been contractual. When you have royalties, you get a certain points of percentage of sales. So I don't know how he could be holding those things back, because it's not up to him to do it. Now, these things want Pharrell, according to this article, for him to open up his books and open up some documentation where he can prove that he owe him the money. But in this case, and you talking about a guy who started out this group with you, and you whining about $1 million here or $5 million here, and Pharrell is, according to some of these articles, are worth $250 million. I wouldn't even let this hit the press, man. If I felt like he owed the money, I would have given it to him. I wouldn't have let this thing be so ugly where you got to get attorneys involved and open up your books and all this type of stuff. And we started out a company together. But this is the root of all evil with this money thing, man. And I've seen it time and time again, where you got some of the best and the brightest of the producers wind up falling out because of money issues, financial issues, where you're not paying the guy who was your partner. So it's ugly, and it's not cool when you say you're breaking up with your friend or your business partner because of financial reasons. So it don't look good at all.
So here's the thing, man. I know a lot of people started a lot of projects together, whether it was music, whether it was in the entertainment industry. It could be anything. It could be you started a project to create a product
Yeah.
or to create a
Yeah.
service.
hmm
And it always seemed to be a freaking fallout over
Yeah.
money.
It could
And
be.
money, just like you just explained, Isaiah, is the root of all evil. It's got evil written all over it. It's got evil stamped to it. And I'm not saying evil from the sense of any of the images on the money. I'm just saying how money can sway a person's thinking process, thought process, how money can make a person think that they're supposed to have more than the other person, which to me, if two people start anything, it should be 50-50 as far as I see it. Now, a lot of people think different, and the laws and the legalities of contracts and all of that kind of call for something a little bit different. And it just hasn't happened in any particular genre. It's happened in every genre. It's happened in rap. It's happened in rock and roll. It
Film,
happened
film industry.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it any genre of music, technically, since we're talking about music, it just doesn't make any sense to me because there's enough money to go around everywhere. I just Googled Chad Hugo's net worth, and it's got several different websites, but it's got him anywhere from 50 to $60 million. And for all of that money that he has, I still think he feels like he is due for what he's owed, right? Because I know other groups went through the same thing. Cameo went through it. Who's going to use the rights to still use the group name, and how much money from particular contracts or any particular royalties that they have. And that's why they set all of this stuff up. So I'm going to go to Najee, and I'm going to ask you your personal thoughts on this, Najee, because this shouldn't be happening, especially as far back as those guys went, and they came from literally nothing to where they are today. Pharrell's a billionaire, and Hugo is, to me, still very, very wealthy for what he's earned in the industry. Do you think Pharrell is wrong here, Najee?
I mean, yeah,
If
because
the
it
allegations are
really
true?
it sounds like it's just a sense of power and greed of it. Because I mean, he's worth like over $250 million. So why would something so little be carried on to even be publicized like that?
Right.
Like me personally, I'm just a regular guy, and I don't even like my personal life in the air like that. So why would you even want all that negativity around you? Because I mean, really, honestly, I never hear anything bad goes around with Pharrell. Pharrell been around for like 30 years, bro. So like how, like why that even out there?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
how did they relationship, they friendship become so sour that this gotta even make the public?
Yeah, you are absolutely spot on because Pharrell has had such a clean and polished image for as well as back as I remember him.
hmm
Because I
hmm
remember going to the Tower Records on Sunset Boulevard. The Neptunes were there, and they were signing books and copies of their CDs, because CDs was really popular back then.
Hmm.
And I pulled up to that Tower Records, and this big bus said the Neptunes on the side of it. They literally brought themselves up from literally nothing to something, because both of them had a lot of talent. I mean,
hmm
Pharrell had a lot of talent with vocals. Chad had a lot of talent with vocals, and Shay did too. And it's just unfortunate that this type of nonsense happens in the industry. It happens at every level of the industry too. It happens at the very bottom. It happens at the middle. It happens at the top. They fight more probably at the top than they do more so toward the bottom, right?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it comes to billions, hundreds of millions of dollars and things like that. I think it's just shameful. It's really shameful that this type of thing takes over a person's mindset, because here's the thing, guys. We've started this thing together amongst ourselves with us three. I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that we would never be going after each other for no money. I don't ever see that happening with me, because I don't have that type of personality. Isaiah doesn't have that type of personality, nor does Najee have that type of personality. Now, a lot of people say, well, it's easy to say now because, you're working your way up. And then once it gets to a level where there's disagreement, because there's going to always be disagreement. Am I right, Isaiah, in the industry at any level over any type of business decision that's made?
Yeah, but sometimes people get a little jealous of each other too, DC, because with Hugo, I don't see him doing anything outside of music. But when you come to Pharrell into fashion, he's always in Paris. He's always, walking with a designer bag or some type of shoes or shirt or pants that he's wearing. And I mean, he's always into something. He's always into things that makes you look younger. Products and stuff like that. I see that when he's in town in Miami, go to a lot of vegan restaurants and stuff like that. So he's always doing something nice and positive and ways of making money outside of music. So, that's why if you think about and look at their net worth, he's so much far advanced than the rest of the guys in the group because he's doing something other than music. And see, sometimes when you have that moment of your life where you only doing one thing and you don't have that multiple streams of incomes, one guy gonna take off and the other ones will still be stagnant and in that one position of doing music and the other one don't parlay the other stuff. So then you start looking like, damn, he's worth 250 million and I'm worth 60 or I'm worth 40 or mine is starting to trim off. And then of course I don't know when the last time they did any music together. And then you living off what y'all used to do, as Pharrell's still moving forward with other ventures. So it could get sour that way. So that could be the reason.
But to me, that still doesn't square the fact that if there's royalties or whatever, because Chad must have enough evidence to prove this, because you got to go to court and you got to prove it. Lawyers just gotten involved and they're going to dig in. You know how these lawyers are. Some of them are really like a bunch of piranhas, right?
Yeah, from what I read, Pharrell is not opening up the books entirely. He's giving them bits and pieces of the things that they're asking for. I mean, that don't mean to say he owe them anything either, because he may just don't want to pay him because he don't think it is due for him.
So you're saying that he might
know.
not want to pay him because of the monies that Pharrell has earned outside of that partnership? Is that
no? What I'm saying
potential?
is he probably got exactly what he was owed. When you got a contract and you get what you owe, but then now you look at a guy who's worth much more than you, and you start guessing whether I'm being paid properly. And it could be that way, but we never know that. We'll have to see that in court because it looked like it's going to wind up there if they don't find some way to settle this thing. But I agree with you and Najee. I wouldn't have let it get to this point. And the reason why it's probably gotten to this point is because Pharrell feel like you got what you was owed. I'm not giving you anything else. And he's pushing it. So Hugo is pushing it. So we'll see how this thing pan out if they wind up going to court on it.
So Najee, it's both sides. You got to hear both sides of the stories.
Yeah.
I know they're both going to have attorneys that's going to be digging in to try to prove the other party wrong, the opposite party, of because Chad is the original, person that's suing Pharrell. So the thing is with this to me, Najee, is according to this that I just read, he's suing his production partner from the Neptunes for $1 million, and you guys have said that already. He says that Williams owed him $1 million from their final album as Nerd 2017. No One Ever Really Dies.
9 years ago.
Is that $1 million worth fighting over, Najee?
9 years, man. 9 years, and I just
down
coming out there like that.
Down
That's
the
crazy,
tubes, bro.
That's crazy, man.
It is.
That's crazy.
9 years down
crazy.
the tubes, because the relationship is never going to be the freaking same.
No.
At all. It's never going to be the same because they both kind of approached it like this person's trying to slight me now. I don't like the fact that I'm being slighted in a way where I say what I'm supposed to be getting and the other person may be saying, no, you're not supposed to be getting this. This is not how the contract was arranged, right? And it just messes up relationships. That's a relationship that's gone. Would you say so?
Yeah, that relationship's cooked. That relationship's cooked. It's never gonna be the way it's supposed to be. It's never.
Yeah. But you know, when I think of the likes of the people that they produce, whether it's Britney Spears and Beyonce and a lot of the other top artists out there, and of course Snoop parlayed with Snoop Dogg and made some vicious hits, man. Even with
Yeah.
Jay
Mystical
Z,
too.
man.
It was a
Yeah, and
mystical
there's
too.
Kendrick
Mystical.
Lamar.
Right.
There's so many different people he worked with. So the money is there. I mean, and you still talking about these guys, these people who still superstars, and Justin Timberlake. These are superstars. So that means they're still getting royalties. DC. If you got
Correct.
these artists that they produce and they got, unless they bought the songs from them and took their name and they don't get any publishing from it, they still getting royalties from this stuff because the music is still being played around the world. So that's the reason why you look at them and still say, "Damn, he worth $50 million, or he worth 250 million," because they still getting paid from this work that they done in the '90s and in the early 2000s. But $1 million is what I see Hugo is asking for, up to
Allegedly $1
$750.
million.
Right.
Yes.
And I don't think that's even worth getting attorneys involved, because if he acquired this $1 million, he's going to have to give that attorney what, 10% out of that, 5% out of that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you're going to be paying these lawyers money for stuff that you could have sat Pharrell down and said, "Listen, here's the books, man. This is what you owe me, and we should be able to get this thing, worked out without getting anybody involved." So hopefully he went that route, and Pharrell may have told him to go somewhere, and sit down. So it could be that. We never know what goes behind the scene with stuff like this, but I know it's
Right.
always ugly when you have a partnership and you grew up with somebody and you weathered the storm of the agony and the defeat of not making it, because there's so many people wish the hell they was in this position where you can be a good producer or artist and come up from nothing and be multi-millionaires and being able to live anywhere you want and travel and eat all the fine restaurants. And these guys got it, and they bickering over something freaking foolish, because $1 million and you worth $250 million, and you fighting with your buddy, a partner for it. That's ugly, man.
It is very ugly, and it's probably going to get even more. I would say uglier. That's the best word I could
Well,
say
if
as
it
it
goes to
drags
court, it
on.
will
Right.
be. It definitely will be if they have to go to court, because you're going to have to expose stuff that they can't get otherwise. Because according to this article, Pharrell is not giving them all the proper documentation. If the judge asks for this stuff, he's going to have to come up with it, man. I
Yeah, because
mean,
it says lawyers for Hugo allege that Williams, in his own right, a producer for artists like Kendrick Lamar, Ed Sheeran, and The Weeknd, has withheld royalties and
mhm.
shares from touring income and merchandising, and that he refused to share the documents, as you stated, that would clarify Hugo's earnings despite repeat demands for financial disclosure. Says their demands were met either with ignorance or met with limited or incomplete documentation in a breach of an operating agreement. So this is what I got here. I think Chad Hugo is looking at the principle behind this. Don't you think so, Najee? It's a principle. You can owe me 5 cents, but if you owe me 5 cents, I want my money. Give me my money. If you owe me 10 cents, I want my 10 cents. I think it's
Yeah,
down to that
you could
principle,
definitely say
correct?
that. You could say that too, because that makes it even worse. Because how we supposed to be boys, and you don't even respect the principle of us even being best friends. So that's good. That could be a part too. Also, I mean, you don't got
Yeah.
no respect for me. You can
So
because
you're
it's already
saying
it's
that
bad
from
enough
the
to do that with.
perspective of Pharrell not having any
Mm,
respect for Chad, right?
yeah, exactly.
If it's
Because see,
true,
if you
because
do
we
that, if
haven't
you do
heard
it,
Pharrell's side.
because if you do that to somebody on the street, or somebody you just happen to do work with, like a coworker or whatever, they'll look at you different already. But by you doing that
Mm-hmm.
by somebody that's supposed to be close to you, that makes it even
Right.
worse. Because that means you really don't respect them. You really don't.
So Isaiah, what do you think about that respect factor?
It probably plays a severe part in it, because as a guy who's worth $250 million, usually they would just say, "Here, sucker," and give him the
Yeah,
money.
and give him
If
the
you
money and get him
just
out
give
of
him the
there,
money
right?
because you're looking down your nose on him, saying that, man, here, just get it, man, because he's going to tarnish his image, man. Otherwise, you really going to, when you start looking at him as a clean cut guy, always with his wife and the beautiful kids that they have, and he's always, low key, never ever in trouble, no controversy or scandal. And then now you got this where you're not paying people. That's the worst thing you can do, is be a deadbeat and not pay people, if that's the case. So, but why risk that if you really owe them? And
Especially with the amount of money Pharrell has, right?
right,
And
and that's the reason why I say it's got to be something, and a personal thing would drive you to be stupid enough to even tarnish your image, to not give the guy something. If it's a personal vendetta you have against a guy, you say, "Well, I ain't paying him nothing," and let him sue me. So that personal stuff like
Yeah.
that could make you think awkward, and you won't think
Mhm.
rational. Let him sue me in court, and then you're going to go hire a lawyer and all this dumb shit, where you now tarnish your image because you're trying to prove a point, which is stupid. Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and say and give Pharrell the benefit of the doubt because we haven't heard from Pharrell's side yet. At least I haven't read anything where Pharrell contests this or rebuts this and says, "Look, that's not true." I
It
have
could be that.
documentation showing that he did get what he was supposed to
It,
get,
it could
right?
be that, DC, and
It could be
and
that
and they could twist this thing around and say that he didn't give them the proper
in the court of public
documentation
opinion that
because
one
what they
side always wants to get the upper hand
out in
on the
front.
other side
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
comes to that, correct?
Yes. And
You did this to me, and then you're gonna have X amount of people because I'm here on Reddit right now, and it's a ton of people calling Pharrell all kind of nasty names,
hmm
calling him
so,
a, I mean, probably getting death threats too. I wouldn't be shocked because it could be true, and we hope that these guys can get together and at least sit down and say, "Look, this is what we need to do," and then go on. And if Pharrell really owe him the money, go on, give him the money and let him go about his life. You know what I'm saying? It ain't
yeah.
like I say. The relationship is irreparable to me. It's not gonna be patched up for what
Well,
they're
I can
arguing and
give you an
fighting over.
example of that, man. I can give you an example of how damaging it is, man, in so many different occasions, DC. And it's always sad, and there's never really a person that wins when it comes to that because of how close the people used to be. And then sometimes people admire that relationship. And then when it goes this way, people start looking at both of them in a different light, because I remember the thing
Sideways,
with Lil Wayne and Cash Money Millionaires, them, their group, with, and when it went sour, where Lil Wayne was claiming that he didn't get his money, and then ultimately he got that thing situated, and they paid him up to date, according to, Baby of Cash Money Millionaires. They paid him all the money, but the damage was already done. I mean, they could
correct?
never be the same. I've never seen them together anymore, and hanging out. They did a concert, but the concert wasn't as successful as people thought because of how the thing was played in the media, and folks didn't see him the same way, because remember, he was like a father figure to Lil Wayne, like he was his daddy. And then all of a
Right.
sudden, when that thing went, it just looked so ugly in the public eye, and the fact that he looked like he was a guy who was taking these people money and not paying them accordingly, and he's up there flashing, talking about how rich he is, but then you got people claiming they wasn't paid, and that's always not a good look, man, when you do that.
Exactly, exactly, and it's happened to the best of the music groups. It's happened to the best of the artists.
Yep.
It's happened in sports. It's happened in every aspect and facet of life. It has happened.
Even businesses fell apart like that. Just think about something,
Absolutely,
DC. You think
absolutely.
about L.A. Reid and Babyface, and which I used to love their production. They fell out. I don't know why. I don't know whether it was a money issue, but they did break up. That, I mean, they had numerous artists under that label, and they broke up for some reason. So, and then you had groups like the new additions of the world that thank God that they're still here, but they wasn't getting paid properly by the management team who they felt like they got ripped off. So it's just old stuff that always happened, man. Yep.
Yeah, it does. It does. It really does. And I just thought this was something that kind of jumped out at me because I've went all the way back with the Neptunes. I used to love those guys' first album on into when they did that Nerd album, and I got every single one of their albums because they were just too talented. Well, three talented guys because you can't count Shay out, but
Mm-hmm.
they were just so talented, man, with the level of creativity and artistry that they
Mm-hmm.
had,
And they
and to
were
hear
different
about
too. What
something
I
like
loved
this is
about them, they were
just
different. They wasn't copying nobody. They were different. They came out with their own style, and they took the world by storm, man, because they just had this way of doing music that nobody else wasn't doing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we'll follow up with this one, and we're going to be covering a lot more. Like I say, we're going to be having a special show, current event show, and we're going to be doing this show talking about entertainment. We're going to be talking about everything, sports, and you name it, the whole 9 yards. So we're glad everybody joined us today. Thank you for everything from all of our viewers because we really appreciate when you come aboard and when you give us a like or when you give us a shout out because we're going to shout right back at you for sure. Positive for sure. Anyway, we'll close this show out and we'll see you again soon. You take care of yourself, take care of your health and spirits and peace, love, and prosperity. Take it easy. See ya.